Oh, yeah. It's about that time. Officially. The playoffs is here. It's go time. It's time to make a run. I don't care who the first round opponent is. It's time to make a run. It's time to get it done. Welcome back to Four Wolves Takes, where your boy Artis Woods will bring you 4 fresh Minnesota Timberwolves takes. This show will be different because this show is about the keys to victory for the Minnesota Timberwolves in this first round series against the Phoenix Suns. So there are takes, but there are really keys to victory, I believe, that the Wolves should follow if they want to get a first round W and advance for the first time in I don't know how long. I will admit, I'll be the first to admit, all right? If my take is hot, I don't have no problem being like, yeah, my take was hot, it was good. You know what I mean? When I say hot in this context, I mean good. If my take is good and I'm right, I have no problem being like, yeah, I was right about that. I told y'all, your boy, yeah, I got y'all. I'm coming with the best takes. If my take is wrong, I'll be the first to admit I was wrong. And speaking of being wrong, a couple weeks ago, I said, the toughest opponent, the toughest draw that the Timberwolves can have in the first round is the Sacramento Kings. I saw the matchup. I saw how they played each other throughout the season. I'm looking at Sabonis. I'm looking at De'Aaron Fox. I'm like, these are tough matchups. It's proven. It's been done. They get out in transition. They kind of can run your bigs off the floor sometimes. And we all know the Timberwolves like to play big. That might be the toughest matchup. They're young, all of that, right? Shoot the ball from the outside, all of that. We saw it a couple nights ago or last night against the Golden State Warriors. We saw what they could do. And I must admit, at that time, I kind of glossed over the Suns because I just didn't see the chemistry there yet. I didn't see it. I didn't see everybody healthy yet. I only saw one matchup earlier in the season against the Timberwolves, and I'm like, I'm not worried about Phoenix. We'll see if they make it. We'll see if they are a play-in team or if they get in. We'll just see. Then they matched up a few more times, and I'm like, all right, I might have been wrong. Matter of fact, I was wrong. I was wrong. This is the toughest draw the Minnesota Timberwolves could have. Now, I'm not saying that to say that we should be shaking in our boots about playing the Phoenix Suns like I've seen a lot of people are. At the end of the day, the Timberwolves are a 3 seed for a reason. They've played well all season. Best defense in basketball. Okay. They are here for a reason. And if you looked at the thumbnail, which I'm sure you did in order to watch this video, I got the Wolves in 6 games. So tough matchup. But at the end of the day, if you want to make a playoff run, you got to be good teams. You got to be great teams. You got to be Hall of Fame players. It is what it is. It is what it is. So without further ado, man, let's get into these takes. These first 2 takes, pretty obvious. I'm not going to hide that. Y'all know the slogan, all right? I'm not here for the hot takes. I'm here for the real takes. And I'll be darned if I'm not going to keep it 100 and state the obvious. The obvious needs to be stated before we get into the deep X's and O's of the series. So let's get it going. Let's get it going. First one, start every game strong. Start every game of this series strong if you are the Minnesota Timberwolves. We've heard this, and again, I'm echoing it. You got to start these games better, man. First 3 times you've seen this team this year, the only 3 times you've seen this team this year. First game you played them, you were down 14 at the end of the first quarter. The second time you played them, you were down 17 at the end of the first quarter. The third time you played them, last game of the season, you were down 22 points at the end of the first quarter. It is unacceptable. It can't be done. Simple as that. Can't be done. You cannot beat these guys if you are fighting from behind all game long. They shoot too well from the perimeter. They score too easily. They have too many guys that can get buckets. They can run you out of the gym if you are fighting from behind all game, right? And then it forces you to play a different strategy offensively. Now you're shooting more threes than you probably should. You're forcing more shots than you probably should. That results in turnovers and offensive fouls, all kinds of things, right? Guys getting in foul trouble. The way to mitigate those issues is if you get out to stronger starts. I think you need to feed Anthony Edwards early and often. Now, yeah, they're going to do the little triangle defense or whatever they got going on over there. Yeah, they're going to do what they're going to do, right? But it's still Ant, all right? I'm feeding Ant early. I'm allowing him to get involved in the game offensively early, whether he be making the right play to pass to a teammate or getting into the line, getting into the lane, getting the bucket, shooting a jumper, getting to the free throw line. However that is done, I'm lining it up in a way that helps him get an easy bucket or a few easy buckets to start the game. Same thing with Karl-Anthony Towns. I'm getting him involved early and often in the game. If at any point in this game, Naz Reid, right, is starting, I'm getting him involved early and often in the game. I'm getting my best players involved in the game early so that you can get that momentum building early. When I say start every game strong, this is the expectation that I'm putting on the Wolves. Because when I say start every game strong, I'm not saying you come out and you're up 15, 20, 17 points at the end of the first quarter every game. What I'm saying is at the end of the first quarter, you are in the game. In some of these games, the second time you played them in the last game of the season, you're literally out of the game. I don't want to say out of the game, but you're down 17, 22 points. It's tough. Against that team, it's going to be tough. All right, simple as that. It's going to be tough. So if you're down 5, if you're down 7, okay, you can work with that. Down 8, you can work with that. You're down 12, 15, 20. Not a fast enough start. Obviously, you want to be up at the end of the first quarter, but that's hard to do every game. So I expect if the Wolves want to win this series to be in the game at the end of the first quarter, only being down anywhere from 8 to 1 point or up, however many points. Start strong and be in the game. Second take of the day, and the first take really just leads me right. A nice little segue into the second take of the day. Another obvious take. Got to get the obvious ones out of the way, people. Again, not the hot take, the real take. The Stars have to play better. The playoffs at the end of the day, yes, it's about the role players. It's about the other guys. It's about the guys that randomly step up when a player is not playing, when the star isn't playing well. But it's really, truly about the Stars. It's really about those guys elevating their game to that next level and helping to elevate their team over the hump. Anthony Edwards, we know the numbers. You've heard it. I'm going to say it again. 43 points on 42 shots in 3 matchups. Again, that's 43 points on 42 shots in 3 matchups. He's got to be better. The matchups with Devin Booker have not been great so far in his career. It is what it is. I expect that to change. I know they throwing a weird defense out there, right? That's making it a little tougher for him to make decisions. Maybe a little easier for him to turn the ball over. That's going to happen in the playoffs. It's going to happen. But Anthony Edwards is a superstar in this league. He has to be better. In order for this team to have a chance, he has to be better. I'm not going to throw a number out there, but you guys know what I mean when I say he's got to be effective. He's got to be felt on the floor. He has to have multiple games where he is the best player between both teams. He just has to in order for this to work out. Same thing with Karl-Anthony Towns. Karl-Anthony Towns, last game they played, I know he was trying to get his feet wet, get his feet underneath him. He's fresh off injury. 10.6 rebounds. It's not going to get it done. Now, again, I expect Cat to be better, right? He got those 2 games under his belt, right? He's got some rest now. He got some time off. He got extra time to game plan. I expect him to be better offensively, but they will definitely need more than 10 points and 6 rebounds. Naz Reid, another guy that I brought up earlier, not the first guy you think of when you think of the Stars on the Timberwolves. You think of Anthony Edwards and Karl-Anthony Towns. But Naz Reid is a guy that you depend on, whether it be starting one game or coming off the bench as the 6th man. He is another guy that you depend on for buckets. And a slept-on, underrated fact about how he's played against these guys in the 3 matchups is he has not played well either, in all honesty. First matchup, he played against these guys. 10 points. Last game he played against these guys. 10 points, 4 rebounds. The game before that, 8 points, 11 rebounds. The first time they played this season, 13 points, 4 rebounds. It's not enough. It's not enough. I think he has to elevate his game as well. We need to see here and there those 20-point games, 20.6 rebound games from Naz Reid. We need him to be big in this series as well, just in case one of the other stars is not playing well, because it's going to happen at some point, right? But you need at least 2 of these guys playing at a high level in order to get this series win, right? And so they have to play better. Simple as that. It's a simple take. They got to be better. They have not been great against this team so far this season. The Suns' defense is good, but they got to be better. All right. They got to be better in order to get this done. Now, third take of the day. Now we're going to get a little bit more into the X's and O's of this series. I think you need to send double teams at the high hand. This is like 2 takes in 1. I think you need to first send double teams at the high hand, whether it be Devin Booker, whether it be KD, maybe even Bradley Beal at times. I think you need to send those double teams. They have struggled this season, believe it or not, with as many shooters as they have. When defenses force the ball out of KD's hands when he's hot, or out of Booker's hands when he's hot, they've kind of struggled. Because most of these guys are rhythm scorers, right? And rhythm shooters. If they haven't had it going for real all game, legit, and then they're giving the ball, even on open looks, if you're not in rhythm, you're not in rhythm. So I think whoever's hot, because these guys gonna get hot. I mean, it is what it is. They're going to get hot periodically. Do not be afraid to send a double team and just rotate that defense around. You got to give them different looks. The second part to this take, let me put it back on the screen. Be physical with Kevin Durant. Now, listen. Like KD said when he played against the Clippers a few years ago when he was playing for the Golden State Warriors. Y'all know who I am. You know who I am. We know who KD is. It's Kevin Durant. All right. He's overall, he's the best player in the series, right? When it comes to overall resume, when it comes to pedigree, when it comes to experience, all of that, it's Kevin Durant. We're not going to sneeze at that. He's the most proven player in this entire series. But in recent years, Kevin Durant has struggled a bit with defenses that get physical with him. For example, in a series against the Brooklyn Nets, or I'm sorry, the series where he was playing with the Brooklyn Nets and he was going up against Boston. This was a few years ago. Defensive game plan was immaculate. He averaged 26 points a game, but he shot 33% from three and 39% from the field. We all know KD is one of the most efficient players in the history of the game. That's not KD like. He struggled all series long. Why? Because they were physical with KD every single play. Not only on ball, because they trapped him a lot on ball, but off ball. When he had the ball in his hands, top of the key, he drive left, he has a body there. Double team. He drive right, he has a body there. Double team. Even if he tries to pass out of it, you got guys jumping the passing lanes and forcing turnovers. It was frustrating for KD all series. Off ball. KD can shoot the three. We all know this. KD is, they call easy money sniper. We know he can shoot the three. But really at this point in his career, his game is mainly mid-range. He likes to feast in that mid-range. So you will see him every now and then, he'll bring the ball up. And if he is bringing the ball up, pick him up. Half court, above the three. Do not let him waltz into a mid-range or waltz into a three-point shot. Just a quick little another take you could just throw in there, right? But coming down court, KD likes to run, if you watch, run straight to the basket, sometimes underneath the basket, and try to get to that block or try to get to that elbow. They set off-ball screens for KD. They did this in Brooklyn. They doing it in Phoenix as well. They set off-ball screens for him, allowing him to get to his spot. He gets to that post up, turn around fade, or he go to his go-to moves, maybe like a quick tween or a quick cross, get to that elbow, shot over the top. That's him all day long. Or he might spin and hit you with a dunk, right? But if you're physical with him, when he's coming down court, you're bumping him at every chance you get, right? You're bumping him off the spots. When they try to run those screens, you know, Boston had a lineup when he played for the Nets. Boston had a lineup where they switched everything. They would be Grant Williams and Jaylen Brown and Tatum switching. They switch everything. Made it tough on him because there was no favorable matchup. Legit, even Al Horford at times gave him problems. But the biggest thing was we're gonna switch these matchups, and before you could get the ball, we're gonna face guard. And if we can't get to the face guard quick enough, you're just gonna bump you off the spot. We're gonna bump you off the elbow. We're gonna bump you off the block, and we're gonna bump you out to the outside. And it worked almost every time. Even going back to the series where he played with OKC. Right? Against the Golden State Warriors. They did the same thing or a similar thing, I would say. They just bumped him off his spots as much as possible, got physical with him as much as possible. When he was younger, he could deal with that a little differently. Now he's a little up there in age, and the physicality takes a toll on him over a series. If you can slow KD down, you have a great shot at beating this team. We saw Devin Booker go off, last year against the Denver Nuggets, averaging like 31 points a game, shooting over 50% from the field and three. But KD struggled. And they didn't have a lot of depth at the time, but KD struggling really hurt. So if you could slow KD down, you have the defenders to do it. You could switch Ant on him. You could switch Jaden McDaniels on him. Even the bigs, when he's down there on the block, if you lose because Nurkic is hitting outside shots, you lose because Nurkic is hitting outside shots. But even on the block, when he's down there on the block, sometimes you shift Cat over there, or sometimes you shift Rudy Gobert over there. And just make sure it makes it tough for him to catch the ball in his spots on the floor. That's the key. Just make him as uncomfortable as possible. So that's my third take. I know that was a little long-winded, but that was my third take, right? Send double teams at the hot hand, which is key. You could hit them with the same triangle defense that they playing against Ant. You could do it both to Devin Booker at times and KD, depending on who's hot and who's in the game at the same time. And you need to be as physical as possible with KD. If they want to call the game close, let the refs call the game close. If they want to call fouls all day, make them make the call. Make them make the calls. That's what I would do. Hey, you call, okay, that's how they officiating it. We got to change it. But until they call it, which they don't a ton off ball, be as physical with KD as possible. It will take a toll on him. And last take of the day, you got to keep Nurkic off the glass. You got to keep Nurkic off the glass. Going back through the numbers for Nurkic this season, when that man is rebounding like a madman, which he does periodically, they are tough to beat. He averages 7 rebounds a game. That's 7th in the NBA right now. You got a game against the Clippers, 19 rebounds, a win. A game against the Timberwolves, 15 rebounds, win. A game against the Pelicans, 19 rebounds, win. A game against the Hornets, 21 rebounds, win. A game against the Sixers, 14 rebounds, win. You got a game against the Celtics, 20 rebounds, loss. A crazy rebounding game against OKC where he had 31 rebounds. They lost that game as well, but 31 is insane. And the game against the Lakers, we had 22 rebounds. They won that game. A stretch during the regular season from January 11th to January 21st. He averaged, he was over 12 rebounds every single game. They won every single one of those games. So if you're going to play big, which I'm sure the Wolves are going to come out trying to do it until they might have to play small at some point, and they have the personnel to do it, you have to keep Nurkic off the glass. You cannot allow him to get this team second chance opportunities. And you need to work on getting second chance opportunities because you have the personnel to do it. We need Gobert, we need Cat, and whoever else can run down there and help to dominate the glass. If you allow Nurkic to dominate the glass in this series, you will be in trouble. That is a underrated key to this series. You can focus on KD, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal all you want. But if Nurkic is dominating the boards, it'll be a tough series to win because they'll have second chance opportunities, and you'll only have one opportunity on the offensive side of the ball. All right? That's all I have for y'all today, man. Listen, I am optimistic about this series. I have a ton of hope for the Timberwolves when it comes to this series. I think they can win this series. It's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be tough. We're not sleeping on the Phoenix Suns. But I've seen enough from the Timberwolves that tell me that they could get this done. All right? So that's what we're rocking with. Wolves in 6. Let's get it done. And let's go on the run, man. It's time. It's go time. I will catch you on the next episode of 4 Wolves Takes.